I've known you for a long time. We met at a networking event, and I've always enjoyed meeting people. So, and entering contests on social media channels from way back when Twitter first popped up. But I entered a contest a few years ago because I'm an avid bucket lister, and I've always wanted to meet Richard Branson. And the bucket list app company posted a contest, and it was just fill your name and email address out into a form. So I filled it out, and 9 months later, I found out I won. And my husband and I went to Richard Branson's private island for 5 days for a tennis tournament. And the Children's Foundation that I've been volunteering with and now work with, they were there, and Jewel was performing, and we had lunch. And my husband just, we didn't realize that the table was very large, and sitting right next to us was Jewel. And she tapped him on the shoulder and asked him if he could please pass the salt and pepper. And we're like, oh, well, this is not something that happens in our everyday lives.
No.
And she was so lovely, and we started talking to her and connected with the foundation that was there, and all the kids over the duration of our trip, and just hit it off from there. And one conversation led to another, and they found out I did advertising. So when we got back from the trip, long story long, I reached out to the foundation because I really liked what they were doing, and not even thinking I would ever get to work with her, but I just really wanted to work with the kids because I'd volunteered with other youth in my youth. So I offered my services pro bono for a year just to help them with their social media marketing. And 3.5 years later, I just signed an advertising contract with Jewel herself. So talk about a long funnel, but that's essentially how we met.
That was our joke, is the longest funnel of all time, right? And there you go. I mean, that must have just been, were you a fan of Jewel before you ended up working with her and her team?
Oh, yeah. Her Pieces of Me album was my middle school soundtrack. So, yes.
So good. That's what I was listening to today. And it's definitely a classic, but it still feels so relevant today. Like when I listen to it, I just feel like every song is still so important. They hold up really well.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. You guys have a lot of stories from that trip. But so what are you doing for Jewel and the foundation, the Inspiring Children Foundation, right now?
So currently our focus is to prevent a weekly series that she's doing. She's doing a music and conversation event every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific. So we just had our third one today, and she focuses on conversations around COVID-19 and just mental health, well-being, and she'll do some songs, she'll perform. Today we had from Tone It Up, the two fitness phenoms, Karina and Katrina, and then a psychiatrist, Dr. Judd. And then last week we had oh goodness, my brain's sorry,
The weeks blend together.
Brad Paisley, we have Frankie Grande, we have a lot of other great guests. So we are really looking to push these free events. They're streaming on Twitch for free every single Thursday for the next, there's 7 more after this. So we're just really looking for people to join the conversation. They're doing live Q&A through the feeds in Twitch, and just getting people connected and having a positive conversation about how we can all improve our mental well-being while enjoying some entertainment, getting some advice from other people, like Harvard psychiatrists and stuff like that, about what we might be experiencing while we're all sheltering at home.
Wow. And I was curious, why did you guys pick Twitch as the live streaming platform to go to for that?
So we've done some practice runs on Instagram Live, which was great. However, there were too many times where it didn't work fully. So we just wanted something a little bit more reliable. And I don't know if there's just too much traffic on the platform that time, but we decided to move it over there because you can, do it on desktop, you could do it on your phone. But just the whole element of having the live chat and just having a larger screen seems to be working well. And we can, we were able to get enough traffic through there that Twitch was promoting us on the homepage too. So that helped expand our reach a little bit further. So we love Instagram. We still use it for a lot of things, but Twitch just seemed like a better platform for this, especially since some of our events, actually all of them have gone overtime. Last week we went about an hour over our designated hours. So I feel like it's just been a little bit more reliable.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I feel like we should be careful about what we say about Instagram if we're on Instagram Live. We love you, but also Twitch is really interesting right now. And I'm curious too, the audience that's there on Twitch, like how have they been engaging and responding with Jewel and then some of these guests? Because you mentioned like Brad Paisley was on it, Frankie Grande. I watched the Brad Paisley live stream. That was great. But like, how are you feeling like the audience is responding?
Oh, really great. Well, Jewel has a really positive fan following, and it's just a really uplifting community where people just open up. And granted, you don't know who everyone is on Twitch based on just their screen names, but one thing that really stood out to me at last week's event, where somebody, or actually the week prior, where we also had a Harvard psychiatrist on, and they were answering questions in the feed, and this one person said that I could never afford some sort of help like this on my own, and just being here and talking to people and getting some advice really helped me, and invaluable. It was just invaluable. So
Wow.
it's just heartwarming to see how positive people are. Of course, we got some trolls in there that are on Twitch, and since we were popping up on the homepage, they went to go check it out, but they weren't interested in the topics necessarily. So there were some troll comments, but we took care of those.
Yeah, and are you actually, because I know you're using Facebook and Instagram ads to promote a lot of these efforts that you guys are doing around it, but are you also a part of the moderation, against trolls and comments like that, or are you mainly on the promotion side?
I'm mainly on the promotion side. We have the team from the Inspiring Children Foundation, and they're in charge of the Twitch channel and just moderating, and just making sure that the conversation is still going, asking questions and prompting and responding, and making sure that we have a healthy, clean feed.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. And that is called the Inspire House, correct, on Twitch, if anybody wants to check that out?
Yep.
Awesome. Yes, I highly suggest it. And so, today, when we were talking about the format of this talk, we knew that we weren't going to get into all like the nitty-gritty details about Facebook and Instagram ads and what makes them, great versus what makes them maybe fall flat. But, in general, why do you think they're such an important tactic, not just for the music industry, but many other industries? Like, why do you think they're very solid in what they can do?
Well, Facebook has been around for a very long time compared to other prominent social media channels. At this point, their targeting is just impeccable. You can pretty much reach anybody in the world on Facebook, and as an extension, Instagram as well. But it's also the least expensive social media advertising platform currently. So this is actually a very good time if you do want to test some small campaigns out. If you're a musician or a business owner or anything that you might be doing, your audience is definitely there, and this is a great time to test it out, because many brands have pulled back on their spending or have paused their campaigns due to COVID-19 going on and impacting a lot of businesses. So costs have actually gone down even further. So it'd be a good time to test it out and get a little bit more for your buck.
Yeah, because I've actually gotten that question quite a bit of, should we even, from musicians and from music and entertainment companies, should we even be promoting out there? Is it appropriate to be putting our message out there? And it sounds like you're saying yes, you should, because people really need to hear it. And not just the money going down, the cost of doing it, but also it's just a good time to still have a presence.
Very much so. And, test it out. If you start noticing that the performance isn't great, or people aren't really resonating with it, make sure that your audiences and your messaging and your creatives are all seamless. But if it's still not picking up and you're not seeing the results that you would like, then maybe it's not the right platform for you. But more likely than not, it probably is. So test it out, and then if you want to do other channels as well, there are options there, but they do cost a little bit more, and their targeting is a bit more limited. So just choose carefully and make sure that you are reaching your audience with the right messaging.
And how long do you think people should test for? Because this is also a question and debate, I guess you could call it. It's not really a debate, but more of a conversation I've had with other marketing folks about how long you should test ads, especially when you're trying out a new platform, a new platform.
So I feel like this is such a consultant response, but it depends. There are a number of variables, anything ranging. So from your audience, how large is it? What is your budget? So for instance, if you have a budget of $5 a day, you're going to serve fewer impressions, reach fewer people than you would say $50 or $500 a day. So you can still get results, but just you might have to run ads for a little bit longer before it's statistically significant and you're getting enough people seeing it, so then you understand what's working and what's not. So, you know, the more you spend, of course, you can spend it on Facebook, but the more you can afford to spend, the quicker you'll learn, the quicker you'll pull back and improve your campaigns.
Makes sense, right? Um, And then obviously Facebook owns Instagram. The two are very connected. But what's a core difference if somebody asked you, what's the difference between running ads on Instagram versus Facebook? What do you see as that big kind of chasm there?
There's a lot, but the two main ones are, Facebook's been around longer. There are a lot
Hmm.
more ad placements, so there's a lot of opportunities to find different places to advertise across the Facebook network, anywhere from, right-hand column on desktop to the feed to stories, messenger, marketplace, apps. There's a lot of areas there, whereas Instagram currently only has three, where it's the feed, stories, and the explore tab. I imagine in the
Hmm.
near future we'll start seeing some ads in IGTV because it's ramping up, but for now there's just three. So there's a little bit different there. If you want to test Instagram on its own, make sure just to set up your own separate campaign for it, or ad set, which is a subset of a campaign. So then that way Facebook's not hogging all of the budget, and you can fairly test that platform if it works for you. And just another thing, in terms of user base, there are very diverse demographics across both, but Instagram tends to skew a little bit younger. So one way to get, if your audience is a little bit older, and one thing we've seen work really well for us is if you do Instagram stories ads, publish those over to Facebook as well, because, we can get people that might be on Facebook a little bit more accustomed to ephemeral content in that type of format.
That's great. And not with ads, but I've also been testing that with organic content over Instagram stories and having them publish over on Facebook. And it really does help, improve that reach, because there's some folks that just stay on Facebook and they're not going to cross, right? So it doesn't hurt just to make sure that you're putting it across both if you use both.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not cross promote?
Why not, right? The more the merrier. So what learnings can you share about running ads specifically for this project, for this client with Jewel and Inspiring Children's Foundation? Specifically, I would just be interested to hear, sometimes I find, because I come from the tech world, that things that worked great for my tech clients might not work as good for a band or a traditional music company that I work with. So for you, is there anything that's happened where you're like, man, I thought this was going to crush, and it didn't in the music world? Anything like that?
For this particular project, no, because we have Jewel, who's a more well-known name, so she's got a
Right.
lot of pull. But we're testing other types of audiences through other special guests that she might have joining us, and that's been successful, but in a smaller scale. In the past, to make it more relevant maybe to other people tuning in, is that we have worked with other smaller musicians, and it's similar to doing event marketing. So my past before, I was doing more agency stuff and diverse
Right.
type of clients with e-commerce. It's very similar to event marketing, because you're trying to get people to check out something that you're offering. And with this particular thing, sometimes your music has to be, free at first, just to get people to, see what you're all about, get some exposure, and build it that way to get the revenue stream going. So as long as you can do some awareness type of campaigns, that's worked very well for us, just to reach more people at a lower cost. Typically, some people want to jump right into conversion campaigns, which are more expensive, lower funnel. So for those of you that aren't marketers that are tuning in,
I
that's
was
going to be
just
a little
gonna
bit more
say
expensive.
maybe, yeah, maybe break down the
Come back to
terms a
start
little
with.
bit. Yeah.
Sure. So, how I like to phrase it typically is with an upper funnel campaign or awareness. That's when you want to introduce yourself to somebody, and it's a lower cost because it's a cold lead essentially. And instead of going straight to a conversion type of campaign where you want somebody to open up their wallet, just you have to build that relationship, especially as a musician, and getting into people's ears and really captivating your audience. So you don't want to just show up at a networking event and be like, "Hi, nice to meet you. Give me your wallet," right? So you have to
Right.
start building that relationship and start, with an awareness or website traffic campaign. If you want somebody to go to your site, maybe download your next track, or maybe sign up for your email newsletter. That's
Hmm.
less expensive than having somebody just purchase your whole album, or maybe a product or a service that you're selling.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think that ever has worked, or maybe it has. Somebody just walking up at a networking event and saying, "Hello, give me your money." I
I've
don't
heard
think that
some.
works. Yeah. I don't know about that one, but
Yeah,
that's
those
that's
are
very true.
probably fairly small.
Yeah, I know. So, Jewel's a major artist, like you said, so that definitely helps with awareness campaigns. And as she's the spokesperson for Inspiring Children Foundation, that's also super helpful to have her influence there, right? But if we have some independent artists and entrepreneurs who maybe don't have that kind of clout just yet, they're on their way, and they're curious about running Facebook and Instagram ads, and maybe they do have a minimal budget as well. You know, what would you say to them if they came to you and said, hey, I don't have a lot of money, so should I even try this? Like, will they even work if I don't have a lot of budget?
Yes. You can do Facebook ads for as little as $1 a day. The most effective way to do that is to post something organically on your page and then boost it for $1, because in that way you can expand your awareness a little bit and expand your reach to a broader audience than just your fans. Because today you were lucky if maybe even 1% of your actual fans that like your music page will see your organic content, which means not paid for. It's not an advertisement. So you're really not getting very much, because Facebook, you're competing with people's baby photos, grandmother posts, cat videos, and as a brand or musician, when you have a more official page, you have to pay to play to get any sort of visibility. So if you have $1 a day, try that out. You'll get a little bit more, but if you have anything more than that to add to it, certainly do that. However, I do recommend going and setting up a free business manager account. It's where Facebook houses all of your business type assets. So your advertising account, your page, rather than just boosting it from your actual page, which is fine, but Facebook makes it easy for just anybody to be able to do that. But if you go into business manager, into the ad account, there are a lot more options for targeting and different types of campaigns that you can customize a little bit further.
And what kind of targeting could people, if somebody's never been in the business manager or the ads manager of Facebook, let's say, what kind of targeting can you do? What's available to you? Because it's quite large, as you said, but like what give like a couple examples of that.
Sure. So you can target anyone, anywhere in the world. Just open it up to any country, any age range, above 18. You can get as granular as targeting somebody in one zip code that maybe was shopping for a used car in the last 3 to 6 months. So
wild.
Just to give you an idea of what you can do.
Just a little creepy, but in a cool way. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Obviously, the more granular you get, the more expensive it is, because your geo-targeting is smaller or your audience size is smaller. So there's more competition for maybe other people trying to run ads to those specific people.
So like a key takeaway for those bands I was talking about, or those music companies, would be to, from what you just said, the takeaway is do it, even if you do have a minimal budget. Play around with the different targeting, right, and the different segmentation, but definitely use business manager, not ads manager, or kind of what they present to you right away when you first sign up.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you'll want to go into business manager and then go into ads manager within that.
That's right. I always forget which one comes first. I know, a lot of managers. And also, I guess we should say now, if you are wanting to get into this a little bit more and have a guide or an ebook, if you will, Akvile actually authored a wonderful ebook that, full disclosure, I helped work on as well, but she really took the cake on that one. She went for it. But today, anybody who attends this IG Live can actually get a free copy of that if you go to her contact page on her website. That's actually the URL that I've pinned in the chat box. So if you just hit her up through the form on the contact page, she will send that to you for free. So thank you, Akvile, so much for doing that.
I wouldn't be able to do that without you. So thank you for your help in being my fabulous editor on the book.
Oh, of any time. That was such a cool project, and it is very helpful. So if anybody on this chat really wants to dive in, I would highly suggest that as your next step in resources. So if someone wanted to get started with Facebook and Instagram ads, oh, so much love for the book. I love it. I love it. It's famous. You got fans here, girl. What are 1 to 3 things you would really want them to know before they get started? And they can be high level or detailed, or just 3 things that you're like, listen, before you go, here you go. Right. Or one major thing, whatever you feel.
First thing is set a business manager with your ad account, and to set that up, even if you aren't ready to advertise. And there's a thing called the Facebook Pixel So if you have a website, you'll want to add that tracking code to your website, even if you aren't ready to start advertising yet, because that tracking code will start tagging people that hit your website. So when you are ready to advertise, you'll be steps ahead, and you can actually re-reach that target or that audience, which is called retargeting. So you can create an audience of people that visited your website in the last X days, and tell people like, hey, you know, we're live now. Maybe my album came out, or a product or service. So that's a really great thing to just get the ball rolling. So then you're not scrambling if you're coming out with something and you want to launch ads right away. You just want to make sure that everything's set up there. So set up the pixel. Second thing is storyboard before you launch your campaigns. Whether you're going to use a static image or videos, but just think about putting yourself in the shoes of your audience. So figure out, why is somebody interested in whatever I have to offer? Who do I target that is that person? What kind of messaging should I use that's clear and interesting, whether you're providing something interesting, helpful, entertaining to somebody? And just look at it from their perspective, and make sure that everything is seamless, from the campaign setup to the audience targeting to your ad copy and creative and the call to action, which is important. You want people to act, right? So if you're going to spend money, you want them to do something. Don't go crazy with too many calls to action. Stick to one. So if it's, learn more, shop now, download this, start with that. And third one, there's so many things.
You kind of gave three, because you said CTA, pixel, and then storyboarding. So you did good. Okay. Yeah. No, and I love the storyboard idea. I actually do that with content for IG stories for different clients. Is if it's, you're trying to tell a story in the story. So I try to storyboard it out first. So I'm not just sitting there, when I'm actually trying to execute and confused about, the sequence of events that goes down. So I love that piece of advice.
There's just been so many times that clients have sent over some really cool videos or different types of things that they want to do, but it doesn't match the specs or the storyline of what we're trying to do. And then we have to try to cram it in, so it's not ideal. So it's better to just use everybody's time efficiently, especially if you're a solo musician, or you're bootstrapped, or you're a small company with little funding. You just start from the beginning instead of jumping to the end. I know it's very exciting to do that stuff, but just so you're using your resources and your time most efficiently. That's totally. Storyboarding is key.
Couldn't agree more. And then I know we're winding down and I want to leave time for questions, but this last question is one of my favorites as well. So what is your favorite Jewel song?
Can I pick two? Depends on the mood.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to say Foolish Games. It's just such a beautiful, deep song. And then I like Intuition. It's when I'm feeling good.
Oh, I haven't listened to that one in a while. I'm going to listen to that when we get off of this. Yes, I love that. So my favorite is actually I'm Sensitive from the first album.
Nice.
That's a quiet one, but don't let it sneak by you. It's really good. Awesome. So thank you so much, Ak, for that. If anybody's got any questions, you can put it in this question box and we'll, just get to going. Let's see. We don't have any right now. I think we were just so informative.
Michelle, don't ask me to sing.
I saw that, and for your sake, I didn't say anything, Ak, but there's a contingent. They want to hear you sing.
What are some other things we can just...
How has it been? Yeah, how's it been working with Jewel and her team?
Oh, it's been great. I've known them for 3.5 years at this point, so we've established a case when I was just volunteering with them, and I've gotten to know her story and just kind of the tone with her brand. So it's been pretty easy. They're just pretty hands-off, which is nice. They do their thing and specialize in it, and they leave me to do what I do best. So it's been a really good working relationship.
Awesome. That's awesome. And is she in LA for her and her team?
No, she is usually in Alaska, but she's currently in Colorado in quarantine with her family. Wow. She was in Vegas for a while, but the foundation, the Inspiring Children Foundation, they're based in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's awesome. And did she take naturally to live streaming, or was there some ramp up there? Okay.
She's been doing a lot of live events, before the whole pandemic started. So she speaks at a lot of meditation, mindfulness, well-being conferences. and performs, just being a performer. She's just well spoken, well performing, and she's just comfortable on stage and in camera. So it just came naturally to her, I think.
Yeah, she seemed great when I saw that episode with Brad Paisley. They both seemed very comfortable, which makes sense. So we have a question from Miss Selena. She said, if you could pick another musician or band to do social advertising for, who would be your dream client?
Oh, ooh. Common?
Oh, great answer.
Or Massive Man. I don't know.
Akvile, you're killing it right now.
I've never had a hip hop client, and it's like that's all I listen to for the most part.
Yes, I love that. And fun fact about Akvile is she used to be a DJ, everybody. So in case you didn't think she was cool already, she's super cool. And we get to just, riff on music all the time because you're very knowledgeable about it.
Thank you. Plus with Common, he's an actor too, so I'd get a lot of different fun experiences with that, I think.
That's so true. Oh, Common's just the best. Christina said Common. Yes. I just talked to Christina about Common the other day, so you can tell I'm a fan. That's awesome. Okay, Miss Jess. Hey, girl. She said, what's been your favorite campaign you've launched?
Oh, my. Trying to narrow it down of all the ones that I've done over the years. So I've been doing this for 12 years, primarily on social media for the last, 6 or 7. So there's been quite a bit. But there's a lot of creative ones I've done, but the one that sticks closely in my recent memory, I had the opportunity to consult for Postmates last year for 5 months, and I've never had the opportunity to work with a lot of big food brands. So we got to do a lot of collaborations there with different major food retailers. So that was really neat. And plus I get to look at food videos and creatives all day when I'm launching campaigns, which made me salivate and want to eat my phone. But that was really fun to work on.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Oh, Jess said top 3. If you challenge accepted. If you have some, but no pressure if not. Postmates is a good one.
I'm going to stick with that. And Jewel. And I work with this really cool company called Indo Windows. They're out of Portland, Oregon. And I know it may not sound as glamorous, but they're just such a great client, make really cool products for home window inserts that reduce noise. And we just get to do a lot of creative videos with just, improving home energy efficiency and putting speakers behind windows and then putting their inserts in and seeing how much it muffles it. So we've done some really fun stuff with their brand. And they're my top 3.
Man, you've got such a diverse roster of folks. Well, this is awesome. Any other questions, you guys?
Oh, I see someone's going to put the pixel tracker on their site. Awesome.
Oh, Carrie Dwayne. Yeah, we love it. That's awesome. Well, if you guys do have any other questions, how can they best get in touch with you?
You can find me at akvertise.com. That's probably the easiest. Or you can just find me on Instagram, shoot me a DM if you have some questions, or I'm very active on Twitter, which is at Akvile DeFazio. Absolutely.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Akvile, just for being such a great source of knowledge and always being up for sharing it with everybody. And I do really encourage the folks on this live to get in touch with you if they have any questions and just follow along with all of your adventures because you've always got something going on.
As do you. I feel like, before this COVID thing, you've got way more going on than I do.
Well, yeah. And now we got to figure out how to do that in the house, which has been a whole other creative journey.
Thank you so much for having me on. And thank you, everybody, for the great questions and joining in. This was really fun.